Good evening to you all. Today, we're going to talk about the fourth episode on Surahud, titled So Do Not Ask Me About That of Which You Have No Knowledge. And it was revealed to Noah that none of your people will believe except those who have already believed, so do not be distressed by what they have been doing. The meaning is that God informed Noah that those who believed in him and his message had already believed in the past, and that was the end of it, and that none of his people would believe in him in the future. And our Lord asked Noah not to grieve or be distressed. The source is Majma al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by al-Tabasi. The question here is, why did God assign Noah the task of calling his people to faith, and then at the same time reveal to him that they would not believe in him? The second question says, and it was revealed, so why, my son, is the verb in the passive voice when the door, who is God, is known? The point here is that God is addressing Noah directly. Using the second person pronoun, he says your people. That's a direct address, your people. And then the word be distressed, you as well. And make the ark under our eyes and by our revelation, and do not plead with me concerning those who have done wrong. They are to be drowned. The meaning here is that when Noah learned from God that none of his people would believe in him in the future, Noah prayed against them. So what did he say? Noah, in Surah Noah, said, My Lord, do not leave upon the earth any of the disbelievers, not a single one. If you leave them, they will mislead your servants and will beget only wicked, ungrateful ones. That's in Surah Noah, verses 26 and 27. So what happened? God willed to destroy them since they would not believe in his prophet. And he commanded his prophet to build an ark under God's supervision and guidance, so that he and those who had believed in him in the past could board it, because no one else would believe. And he told him not to ask for forgiveness for the disbelievers, because he would drown them. He said, Look, those who believed with you in the past, that's it, they've believed. No one else is going to believe anymore. Build an ark under my supervision and watchful eye, and take care, take those who believed in you in the past and leave in this ark. The source here is Majma al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by al-Tabrisi. The question here is, how does God ask Noah not to seek forgiveness for his people, when Noah himself was the one who prayed for his people to be destroyed? The point here is that God commands Noah to build an ark, saying to him, And you, Noah, build the ark or the ship. So here, God addresses Noah directly, or gives him the command to build the ark. The second point in this note is that God speaks about himself in the first person, saying, Under our eyes, we are God, and by our revelation, we are God, and do not address me, I am God. And he builds the ark, and whenever a group of his people passed by him, they mocked him. He said, If you mock us, then we will mock you just as you mock. The meaning, when Noah began, because in verse 37, God had told him, Build the ark, giving him a command. When Noah started building the ship, his people, those who did not believe in him, would pass by him and mock him, saying to him, What? Did you become a carpenter after prophethood? They would laugh at him and be amazed by his work. So he told them, You will receive your punishment when you drown and perish. What's the source? It's Majma al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by al-Tabasi. The question here is, what is the wisdom behind repeating the word mockery 4 times in the verse? They mocked him. You mock us. We will mock you just as you mock us. The point to note here is that God is talking about Noah and says, and he builds, meaning he, Noah, is building. whereas in the previous verse, he was saying to him, "And build, O Noah," using the second person pronoun. So you will soon know who will be visited by a humiliating punishment and upon whom a lasting torment will descend. The meaning here is that Noah is responding to his people, saying, "You will know the consequences of your mockery when the punishment comes down upon you. When God drowns you, you will realize the price of your mockery of me while I was building the ark, the very same ark." Majma al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by al-Tabrasi. The real question here is about the repetition of the word punishment twice in the verse. So when our command came and the oven burst forth, we said, "Carry in it of each kind too, and your family, except those against whom the word has already gone forth, and those who have believed." But none believed with him except a few. The meaning here is that God is saying, when our command for the destruction of Noah's people came. And there are other people who say, no, what it means is that when God's command came and the heavy rains poured down on the earth, even the wild animals themselves fled and entered the ark that Noah had built. So, when God's command came, right? What does God say? We said to Noah, "Take or carry from every male and female, two except for his wife and his disbelieving son, Canaan." The important thing is that when the light started to break, it meant that the surface of the earth began to boil. All right. So, where did this whole story take place? Where exactly did this boiling of the earth start to happen? Some say Noah's Ark story happened in Iraq. Others say Yemen. A third group says India. A fourth group says no. They say it was in the Levant at Noah's house. That's the story. All right. The important thing is that our man Noah took two of every male and female, in addition to the people who believed in him. So, how many people actually believed in him? They said their number was 80, and some people said, no, their number was 40, others said 30, others said 10, another group said 7, and some said 5. They said, no, the only ones he took with him were Noah's 3 sons and their wives, and 6 people who believed in him. There were only 6, no more. The source here is Zad al-Masir fi Ilm al-Tafsir by Ibn al-Jawzi. Here, honestly, I don't have a question or anything. But here, it is God himself speaking in the first person, saying, when our command came we, meaning God, said, board it, in the name of God shall be its course and its anchoring. Truly, my Lord is forgiving, merciful. This was after Noah built the ark, and after the earth began to boil, and after the rains started to pour, up to this verse. The animals hadn't boarded the ark yet, as we mentioned. Here remains the command of God. Noah carried with him, meaning he took with him in the ship whoever believed in his message, whoever they were. 40, 80, 7, 6. These are Noah's 3 sons and their wives. I mean, according to what we said in the previous verse, the important thing is that he told them to ride with God's blessing, for he is the one who directs and controls its movement and its anchorage by his command. My Lord will save you from what? From drowning. All right, here the conversation shifts. In the previous verse, who spoke? God. But here, who speaks? Noah, he said, board. God didn't tell to board. The words here are not from God. The words here are from Noah. The statement is from Noah, but the narration is from God. And it sailed with them through waves like mountains. And Noah called out to his son, who had kept himself apart. He said, O my son, come aboard with us and do not be with the disbelievers. The meaning here is that after Noah took the animals with him onto the ark, and took with him those who believed in him, and his sons' wives, and all of that. The ark began to move for what reason? To sail with them, or to move with them, through the high waves like mountains. The important thing is, before the ark started moving and set off away from the shore, Noah saw his disbelieving son, Canaan, standing apart from the group of believers who were supposed to board the ark. So he called out to him with a father's affection, saying, "My son, come aboard with us and do not stay with the disbelieving people, because God will drown them in the flood." Between what? Between the waves. Very soon. The source is Al-Wasit in the interpretation of the Quran by Sheikh Muhammad Syed Tantawi. What does the note here say? And Noah called out to his son. Here, called out is the part in red. And Noah called out to his son. So, the call here, or the statement or the call itself, who is it for? Noah is calling out to whom? To his son. So, the statement is from Noah directed to his son, and the narration is from God. And there is a difference between the statement and the narration. So the statement is from Noah, not from God. He said, "I will take refuge on a mountain that will protect me from the water." He said, "There is no protector today from God's command except for whom he has mercy." And the waves came between them, so he was among the drowned. The meaning here is that when Noah called out to Canaan, Canaan replied to his father and said, "Don't worry about me. I'll protect myself from this drowning thing. I'll take refuge on a very high mountain that will keep the water from reaching me. Don't worry." Noah replied to his son Canaan and told him, "There is no protection for any creature from the punishment except for those whom God has mercy on." And as they were talking, one would speak and the other would reply, and he told him, "Come aboard with us." "No, I'm not getting on. I'll take refuge on a mountain, climb all the way up, and the water won't catch me and all that." Anyway, during all this, the ship started moving, and the waves of the sea separated them, separated Noah from whom? From Canaan, his son. Of course, when the ship started moving, the rain began to pour, the flood happened, and the deluge took place. So Canaan drowned, along with everyone who disbelieved with him. The source is Al-Wasit fi Tafsir al-Quran by Sheikh Muhammad Syed Tantawi. Here, who was it that said this? It was Canaan telling his father, "I will take refuge on a very high mountain, and the water won't reach me." So, the important thing is, who was the second statement directed to? To Noah. He told him, "Nothing is going to protect you from the coming flood, no matter how high the mountain is. You'll drown, you'll drown." And that's exactly what happened. The statement is between Noah and his son, and the narration is from God, meaning they are conversing, telling each other, "Come here, I'm coming." So, who narrated this conversation? God. And it was said, "O earth, swallow your water, and O sky, withhold your rain." And the water subsided, the matter was settled, and the ark came to rest on Mount Judy, and it was said, "Away with the wrongdoing people." The meaning: after the flood drowned the disbelievers, Canaan and the group who disbelieved with him remained. So God commanded the earth to absorb the water. And then, God didn't just command the earth to swallow the water. No, he also commanded the sky. He told it to stop what? To stop sending down rain. Both the earth and the sky obeyed God's command, and the floodwater dried up completely. And what God had promised his prophet Noah was fulfilled. And all the wrongdoers who disbelieved in Prophet Noah were destroyed, and the ark came to rest on a mountain in northern Iraq. The source here is Al-Wasit fi Tafsir al-Quran al-Kareem by Sheikh Mohammed Syed Tantawi. The question here is, it says it was said, so why is that? Why is the verb in the passive voice when the door is known, and it's God? And again, for the second time, it says it was said, away with the wrongdoing people. Again, the verb is in the passive voice, even though the door, the one who speaks, is known, and it's also God. And Noah called upon his Lord, saying, My Lord, my son is of my family, and your promise is true, and you are the most just of judges. Here, Noah prayed to our Lord, saying that his son Canaan was drowned by the flood, and, O my Lord, your promise is true and just, so how was my son drowned here? Actually, it's the source that's asking the question, not me. It says, how could Noah ask God to fulfill his promise to save his family from destruction? How is that possible? The source is objecting to Noah's request that God save his son. The source here is Fath al-Qadir by al-Shakani. The question here says, and he called, meaning it was Noah who called. So it's talking about Noah. Who is the speaker here? It's Noah. And Noah called upon his Lord, who is being talked about here. It's about Noah and his Lord in this verse. He said, O Noah, he is not of your family. Indeed, he is of unrighteous conduct. So do not ask me about that of which you have no knowledge. I advise you, lest you be among the ignorant. Is there anyone who says he said about God? God himself wouldn't say that. He would say we said, for example, if he himself were speaking. But when someone is talking about God, they say he said, O Noah. So here it's talking about both of them. That's the meaning here. God answered the question of the prophet Noah and told him that his son Canaan, or his son Canaan, is not of his family, because the conversation here is actually about both of them, using the third person pronoun about God and about Noah. He told him, Your son was with the disbelievers. He is not of your family, those who believed in you, your kin. And these are God's words. The real bond, O Noah, is the bond of faith, not the bond of blood. A son, a brother, a sister, all of that. But Canaan disbelieved, so don't ask about what you don't know. And our Lord is telling him, I'm warning you not to be among the ignorant. So don't ask these kinds of ignorant questions. If someone disbelieves, he is no longer your son. That's the end of the matter. Source, Fath al-Qadir by al-Shakani. The question here says, so do not ask about what you have no knowledge of, which is this right here. So do not ask about what you have no knowledge of. Well, does that mean he should only ask about what he already knows? Isn't it natural for someone to ask about what they don't know? He asks God, and God explains what is unclear to him. The second question says, he said, O Noah, who is speaking about God and about Noah in this verse? He said, My Lord, I seek refuge in you from asking you about that of which I have no knowledge, and unless you forgive me and have mercy on me, I will be among the losers. The meaning here. God told him in verse 36, the previous one, he told him what not to do. Don't ask about something. Noah, this son, Canaan, is not from your family, and don't ask about something you have no knowledge of. Very good. Here, Noah is saying to God, what does he mean? I seek refuge in you from asking about what I do not know, and I ask you for forgiveness and mercy for asking this question. Consider me at fault. Who is the source here? It is also collected in Al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by al-Tabasi. Of course, because here it's a conversation between Noah, God, and his son Canaan, and all of that. So honestly, I took just one source out of concern for the differences among interpreters and jurists regarding the meanings and all that. So I chose one source so that the conversation would remain consistent. The interpretation of the conversation between Noah, his son, and God. Anyway, so here's the question. He said, "My Lord." Who said it? Noah said it. He said, "All right, my Lord, I." So here, who is speaking about Noah and about God in this verse? It was said, "O Noah, disembark in peace from us, and blessings upon you, and upon nations from those with you. And there are nations whom we will grant enjoyment, then a painful punishment from us will touch them." The meaning is that the ark settled on the mountain after the flood ended. So God told Noah to descend from the mountain. Some people say, no, he told him to get off the ark, not the mountain. The important thing is, whether he got off the ark or the mountain, he came down safely, saved, along with those believers who were with him, as the verse says. The main point is, he told him that from the descendants of those with you, there will be nations, other nations, meaning he will descend, and from them will come nations whom we will grant enjoyment in this world with blessings, but then they will disbelieve, and we will destroy them and punish them. The source here is Majma al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by al-Tabasi. The question here is, why was the first verb put in the passive voice? It was said because it is God who is speaking. God is the one saying this. He could have just said, we said, "O Noah, disembark in peace," because it is clear, it is known that it was God who told Noah to disembark in peace. So, as long as this verb in the passive voice actually refers to a known subject, which is God, why was the verb put in the passive voice here? Especially since he refers to himself in the first person 3 times, saying, "From us, we will grant them enjoyment, from us, we, from us," meaning God. The second question is that he used the active voice in verse 46, just 2 verses before this one. I'll show it to you right now. Right. He said, "O Noah." So why does he use the active voice in verse 46 and then use the passive voice in verse 48? These are accounts from the unseen which we revealed to you. Neither you nor your people knew them before this. So be patient. Indeed, the outcome is for the righteous. The meaning: we, Allah, have revealed to you, O Muhammad, the story of Noah, which is from the tales of the past that no one knows except us. And this story and others like it, you and your people did not know them before, in this form free from myths. So be patient in delivering your message, O Muhammad, and endure the harm from your people, just as your brother Noah endured before you. The source is Al-Wasit in the interpretation of the Holy Quran by Sheikh Muhammad Sayyid Tantawi. Here, God is speaking in the first person. Here, he says, we, Allah, reveal it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next episode.